Hey everyone, are you looking for some drills to teach your players how to get open, to make them a little bit more effective during basketball games? Well, if you are, I got a great drill that you can do. I'm going to go through it step by step. I'm going to throw in kind of how I set it up, at practice and the different evolutions that I go through to add some creativity to this thing. This drill is not only a good way for you to teach your players how to get open, but there's also some other things that you can throw in as they get a little bit better. So you can work on other individual skills like passing and defense and driving and passing and shooting. So just stay tuned throughout the whole video, and you'll be able to catch on to some of the little pro tips that I'm going to talk about. But if this is something that you like, this is something that you need, this is something that you need to be able to incorporate into your program, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and feel free to throw any comments in there. It really helps me out. So jumping right into this, the objective of this video today is just to teach you a drill, or give you a drill that you can run at practice, super easy and effective at teaching your players how to get open during basketball games. So as you can see, I have my team kind of lined up over here, and you'll have to wait for the program to do their ads. Sorry about that. Okay, so the team's all lined up. And I've got the coach up here at the top, so that would be you. And then he's got a couple basketballs just to keep this thing going. If you got an assistant coach, I like to throw them out there as well. You don't necessarily need a defender buddy here, but it is very helpful to have this thing. I'll put a link if you want to look at maybe buying one of these. I'll put a link to the product in the description box below. But if you don't have one of these, use a chair. Cones are okay, but not super great. You can also just use another person and just have them stand there. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to have a player who's up on deck, and they're going to, dart in. They're going to basically do like a little, little curl cut, right? And you really want to emphasize here that as they're coming up to use this screener, they want to get as close as they can, right? Like they want to... They don't want to be any. You don't want to have any distance in between the screener and the cutter, and I'll show you why a little bit later in this drill when we start adding some different layers to it. They want to make sure that they touch waist to their legs. They want to have a lot of no gap in between this, and basically what I'll do is I'll just pass them the ball. I might actually do this a couple times for the younger teams just to make sure their screen looks good without a basketball. But then I'll start working it with a basketball. And I'll pass the ball to them as they come around. And I emphasize here, their eyes should be on me where the ball is. Eyes should be on the ball. Hands should be up, ready to receive the ball. And then that way they're not getting, punched in the face with a basketball or missing a pass. And I give them a good solid pass. And I make my passes nice and crisp, so that they believe that they need to keep those eyes up and those hands up. And then they come in, and then they can, make a quick layup. And I'll do that, for all the players, and I'll give them a little bit of time to, come up. Remember, they're staying super focused here. They're staying nice and close to the screener. They're curl cutting around as they get the pass. Whoops. And they're driving in for the layup. All good to go there. Okay. Now, as they start getting this concept down and it looks good, and remember, I'm watching for that gap because they're gonna mess this up. You've got to correct this quick. Otherwise, as we start moving into the other layers of this drill, they're gonna have a problem. So what I will do is I will set up, I'll just split the team up, split them into two lines, an offense and a defense. Now, if you don't have a lot of players, or you got a bunch of players that like to clown around, I'll have a coach be the defender here so that they can work this out, right? So essentially what's going to happen is they're going to, they're going to come up just like they were, but now they're going to be defended, and they're basically going to run their defender into the D-man. And, then they're going to get the pass, and now it's fair game. Now, sometimes the problem with using a defender, a player as a defender, is, they'll make it very difficult for this player to really learn how to work this. So that's why sometimes I'll use a coach ahead of time. But I will get the defensive players in there so that they get a little bit of practice of defending, and also seeing how this can be worked out. And then my rotation is just to the other line. So player number 3 is coming up. He's getting close to the So player 3 and player 2 are coming up. He or she is getting close to the D-man, setting a screen, which keeps the second player behind the defender. Behind the screener. They get the pass, and they can curl cut around and go for the shot with the ball, of course. And then, they rotate the ball back over. They rotate spots. The defender goes over here, and that's kind of how they rotate. Now, what you're going to see when you start using the defensive players or the players as your defense is you're going to see a bunch of crazy things, right? First, you're probably going to see them trying to, get in between that gap. And that's good, because that's what you want them to do. They're going to try and get in between that gap. Hopefully you're an offensive player, and you can set up ways of, if they let the player through the gap, they owe you 10 push-ups or a couple suicides, whatever you want to do. They will stop letting that player get to the gap, and this will be effective for you. But what you'll start seeing is your players be very smart like they are, and they will lag behind and let that player do their curl cut and be waiting for him here, okay? And that's okay, because, that's real basketball, right? That's real basketball. This is where you got to start teaching your players that they've got to start making decisions. And a lot of times what I'll do is when I start to see that they got it, that they're not letting their players get out here, and they're sagging, I'll start adding another line of players, and I will have, an assistant come out, another offensive player, so that they are lagging. Actually, I take that back. First, what I will do is if they're lagging, instead of getting that screen, I'll just have them pop up, get the ball, and shoot it, right? Wide open. And what that does is now you're adding more individual skills to your practice. Now you're teaching your defensive player how to react to a screen. Do they try to cut through? They can't, so they sag. When they figure out that the ball gets passed up to the top and they're going to go for a shot, now they're learning how to close out without fouling, or they're fouling and they're getting, they're getting some education on proper closeouts. And, the player number 1 is getting a chance to shoot, get some shooting. But there's a lot of things that can happen here. This player can do whatever they want. They can pop out. Obviously, coming here is better if the player's going to sag, but they can do different things. Later on, what I'll do is I'll add other players in the mix, so that let's just say that they do the curl cut and they get the pass to them, and then they get stopped here. Now they can pass out. They can kick out for a 3, or it can be a 2-on-1 situation where this guy drives in and this person pops out, and a little bounce pass goes. So it's like a 2-on-1 game, and it gets to be a lot of fun. But for that, so I basically just went over 3 different ways to run this drill. The first, you're just practicing using that screener, the curl cut, layup, easy day, all day long. Then you're adding in your defense. And it's just a rotation, right? Like everything's a rotation. You're adding in your defense, and the defender's getting a chance to either curl cut to sag or to try and get through the gap, and close out when the ball gets passed to them. That's your second way. And then, of course, after the offensive player either scores or, loses the ball, that person rotates here, this person rotates there. And then the third way is, you've got 3 lines. You got, defense line over here, and you have offense over here, and you have your second offensive player over here. And then also one thing I forgot to mention, I would also add in a nice sturdy pass from the offensive line. So maybe get all the balls over here. When your team starts to get this drill, it's going to be a lot of fun for them, and they're gonna be moving. So now you can add in passing, and you got your defender. I'll pass here. A drive. Let's say the defenser pops up here. The offense would automatically come out. Boom. Shoot the ball. Now he's driving. This guy's defending. And we have a little 2-on-1 situation. So there's three different ways to do this drill. And the way that I do it is I started off nice and easy with just the 1 line. I add the 2nd line. I go to the 3rd line. And then once my team is comfortable with this, after doing this for several weeks at practice, we just go right into just doing 3 lines, maybe 4. A lot of good individual skills are trained and repped out in this drill. And at the end of the day, we talked about it. The problem that we're trying to solve here is how to get open in basketball. And this is a great drill. It gives you an opportunity to learn how to read and react to whatever the screener for the defensive player and the offensive player reacting to whatever the defense gives them. So if you're looking for a way to get open in basketball games or get your team member or your players open in basketball games, this is the drill that I challenge you to incorporate in your practice. Listen, if this is content that you enjoy and it's helpful to you as a coach, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you get a chance to run this in practice, let me know how it goes in the comments below. I would really appreciate to hear your feedback.